Welcome back to our channel. Today's audiobook summary unfolds a tale of dreams, destiny, and the pursuit of personal legend, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. This is not just a story, but a journey with Santiago, a shepherd boy from Andalusia who teaches us about the wisdom of listening to our hearts and following our dreams. Through deserts, encounters with kings, and conversations with the wind, this tale reveals the secret language of the universe and the treasure that lies within us all. So, let's embark on this magical journey together and discover what the alchemist has in store for us. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the transformative adventure that is about to begin. Part 1. This story is about a shepherd boy named Santiago who lived in Andalusia, Spain, tending to his sheep. Once, while grazing his sheep, he reached a place where he met a beautiful girl with black hair, a shopkeeper's daughter, who came to buy wool. Santiago was fond of her and, like every year, hoped to meet her again at the same place. He roamed the hinterlands of Spain with his sheep, where there was no shortage of grass or water. To protect himself from the cold at night, he carried a jacket, although he disliked carrying it during the hot days. One should always be prepared for change, whether it's day or night or in life's major events, he often said, as the jacket protected him from the cold. Despite his family's wish for him to become a priest, the boy, passionate about travel, chose to be a shepherd, to wander constantly with his sheep. He had the same dream twice while sleeping in a ruined church with a large tree growing through it. Later, he visited a town called Tarifa to meet a mystic woman who interpreted dreams. The gypsy woman told him that he should go to the Egyptian pyramids where he would find a treasure, and upon finding it, he should give her a tenth of it as her fee. However, Santiago didn't pay much attention to this and started wandering the town, where he met an old man. Initially, Santiago showed little interest in talking to him, but the old man's wisdom impressed him, and they started conversing. The old man revealed he was the king of Salem and offered to help Santiago reach his dream, the treasure. He mentioned that he often helps people achieve their destinies. Since Santiago had almost given up before reaching his destiny, the old man came to show him the right path, telling him that life always gives us signs or clues to choose the right direction. He asked for 1/10 of Santiago's sheep as a fee for further guidance. The next day, Santiago met the old man on time, who gave him 2 stones, one black and one white, to help him make decisions if he ever faced confusion in his quest. He also advised Santiago to look for good omens that would help him reach his destiny. Suddenly, a butterfly flew over Santiago's face, which he took as a good omen. That day, he reached Tangier in Africa. While sitting in a bar, a man approached him and asked in Spanish what he was doing in this new place. Seeing this as another omen, Santiago told him about his quest for the pyramids and offered to pay him if he could guide him there. The man took Santiago's money and disappeared into the busy market, leaving Santiago behind. Feeling despondent, Santiago remembered the stones and recalled the old man's words, "If you want something with all your heart, the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it." Holding the stones, he felt as though the old man's spirit was with him, inspiring him to continue his quest for the treasure. Despite losing his money, Santiago didn't give up and managed to survive in the unfamiliar city using his shepherding experience, strengthening his self-belief and confidence. Then he met a crystal seller. Santiago offered to work for the crystal seller in exchange for food. The shopkeeper fed him lunch and then asked him to clean the glassware in his shop. While Santiago was cleaning, two customers entered the shop and made purchases. Believing in omens, the shopkeeper decided to employ Santiago permanently. However, Santiago didn't want to work there. He needed money to reach the pyramids. Upon hearing Santiago's plan, the shopkeeper laughed, explaining that the pyramids were thousands of kilometers away and required a significant amount of money to reach. Hearing this, Santiago began to consider working enough to earn money to buy sheep and return to his native place to resume his life as a shepherd. Part 2. The boy wanted to build a new cabinet for the crystals so he could earn a lot of money as soon as possible and return to his town to resume his work as a shepherd. The shopkeeper agreed to this idea out of sympathy for Santiago, having harbored his own unfulfilled dream of visiting Mecca for many years. Thus, he wanted at least Santiago's wish to come true. Therefore, he advised Santiago to sell tea in the crystal glasses to attract more customers. Despite the shop doing well without the need for extra effort or expansion, he was ready to help Santiago. This decision by the shopkeeper was also a part of Santiago's destiny and brought about a significant change. Selling tea in crystal glasses made the shop famous and a commercial success. Once Santiago had accumulated enough money, he decided to return home. But before leaving, he wanted the shopkeeper's blessings. The shopkeeper blessed him and predicted that Santiago would not be able to return to Spain. Santiago packed his belongings and kept the 2 stones given by the king in his pocket. As he was preparing to return to Andalusia, a thought struck him. Reflecting on everything that had happened, he realized that while he could always go back to being a shepherd in his country, the opportunity to go to the pyramids might not come again. This realization, sparked by looking at the 2 stones given by the king, made him reconsider his decision. He then changed his mind and set out for the pyramids, reaching a warehouse where he met an Englishman who was quite similar to Santiago in many ways. The Englishman recognized the 2 stones Santiago had, marking another omen for Santiago. Together, they joined a caravan headed for Egypt, led by a bearded man. The caravan journeyed through the desert, initially bustling with activity, but soon everyone fell into a quiet march. During the journey, Santiago befriended a camel driver, and they shared stories of their lives, realizing a philosophical truth. Destiny seems to have planned everything in advance because everything in life is interconnected. Along their journey, they occasionally encountered Bedouins, the mysterious protectors of the desert, who would warn them of desert bandits and impending dangers before disappearing again. At one point, they were informed about an imminent war between tribes, which frightened everyone, but turning back was no longer an option. When retreat is impossible, the only viable path is to move forward. As they moved forward, the Englishman became increasingly interested in the desert, while the boy delved into the Englishman's books, marking a sort of role reversal. The Englishman was fascinated by the art of alchemy, the ability to change any metal into gold. However, the more Santiago read, the more confused he became, unable to comprehend the language and symbols in the books. He wished to learn in an easier way, but the Englishman remarked, "Higher knowledge is only bestowed upon those who dedicate a great deal of time and effort to reading these books." Their caravan hastened, moving day and night to avoid the tribal wars, eventually reaching an oasis. The alchemist, impatiently waiting for a man who would reveal certain secrets to him based on the omen's suggestion, greeted them. After laying down their weapons, the caravan folks were provided accommodation in the oasis. The next day, the Englishman and the boy set out in search of the alchemist. They arrived at a well where some women, clad in black, stood. Santiago had been advised against speaking to married women, so they waited. After a while, they saw an unmarried woman approaching the well. She was so beautiful that Santiago was captivated at first sight. For the first time, he understood the language of love, which is universal. He felt that they were meant for each other. Upon inquiry, the girl introduced herself as Fatima. Santiago began meeting her at the well for 15 minutes daily, which became the essence of his life. Soon, news spread that the tribal war was going to last longer, and they couldn't leave until it was over. They had no choice but to stay in the oasis, possibly for many more years. Fatima also grew to love Santiago deeply, and they became very close. Santiago told her everything about his life, including the treasure. Fatima urged him not to give up on his quest for the treasure. He faced a choice: stay in the oasis to seek answers, or pursue the desert path. Santiago decided once again to search for the treasure. By then, it was getting dark when he witnessed another omen, a pair of hawks flying overhead, with one attacking the other. At that moment, Santiago felt as though he had entered the soul of the world, interpreting the omen to mean that the oasis would be attacked. He shared this with his camel driver, who advised him to inform the oasis chief. Santiago relayed the warning to the chief, who consulted with his advisors and decided to prepare for war the next day. If Santiago's prediction of an attack proved true, he would be rewarded. If false, he would risk his life. Santiago accepted this as his booktube, or destiny. As he was leaving, he encountered a horseman who, intrigued, asked Santiago to explain the omen. Santiago bravely shared everything, admitting he didn't know the prediction. The horseman, satisfied with Santiago's courage, let him go, proclaiming that the boy's bravery was the key to understanding the language of the world. This profound statement reminded Santiago of the old king, and from this small gesture, he realized the horseman was the alchemist. If he survived the attack, Santiago was to meet him, and indeed, the next day, the oasis was attacked by 500 horsemen. The oasis's inhabitants were prepared, and within half an hour, all attackers were defeated except their leader, who was captured, interrogated by the chief, and then hanged with great honor. Santiago was awarded 50 gold coins as a reward and was also considered for the position of a tribal counselor. With the battle now over, Santiago went to meet the alchemist, who had invited him for dinner in his tent. The alchemist urged Santiago to continue his quest for the treasure by going to the pyramids. When Santiago mentioned that he had found his treasure in Fatima, the alchemist countered, stating that since Fatima was not found at the pyramids, she could not be considered the treasure. He advised Santiago to sell his camel and buy a horse for a more dependable journey. The next night, they set off together, with the alchemist telling Santiago to lead the way in the desert. Initially, Santiago was confused, but he soon learned to follow the path wherever it led them. His horse brought them to a spot where they encountered a life form in the shape of a snake. This was the omen the alchemist had been waiting for. Although the alchemist was committed to guiding Santiago to the treasure, Santiago wished to stay in the oasis and live a peaceful life with Fatima. The alchemist warned Santiago that he might be content for a while, but if he ignored his quest for the treasure, he would regret it later and never be truly happy, as his destiny was to find the treasure. They returned to the oasis for the night, and Santiago decided to follow his destiny. a decision he shared with the alchemist. The next day, they resumed their journey before sunrise, navigating through the desert. Santiago felt heavy-hearted from missing Fatima, but the alchemist encouraged him to move forward, assuring him that if Fatima's love was meant to be, it would happen. Santiago learned much from the desert, avoiding war zones, and sometimes even the scent of blood indicated nearby battles. Carefully making their way, they approached the end of their journey where a vast stretch of desert was engulfed in a fierce battle. Santiago experienced various moments of conflict throughout the journey, fluctuating between happiness and sadness. The alchemist listened attentively, providing counseling that helped Santiago feel positive about his quest. As he was moving towards his destiny, learning from his past experiences. This journey was part of a larger plan, written by unseen hands that plan everyone's life. Santiago learned that the fear of suffering and failure is greater than the suffering and failure itself. Now at peace, Santiago shared his insights with the alchemist, who told him he was fully prepared for his destiny, but had one last lesson to learn, to be ready to test everything he had learned so far. This is because every search starts with beginner's luck to ensure the lessons learned are embedded for life. Soon, the day of the test arrived. They were surrounded by a tribe, taken to their chief and interrogated. To save their lives, the alchemist gave all of Santiago's gold to the tribe and claimed Santiago had the power to turn himself into the wind. If he failed, they could kill them in 3 days. This overwhelmed Santiago, who was terrified of what lay ahead. By the end of the first day, Santiago confessed to the alchemist that he didn't know how to turn himself into the wind. The alchemist replied that it was Santiago's problem, as he himself knew the magic. On the second day, Santiago spent his time on a mountain, conversing with the desert. When the time came to demonstrate his magic on the third day, he asked the desert for help. The desert posed questions to Santiago, which he answered bravely. Agreeing to assist, the desert instructed Santiago to seek help from the wind. When Santiago appealed to the wind, it too asked questions, and Santiago responded with courage. Santiago convinced the wind to blow with such force that he could seek help from the sky. The wind complied and blew fiercely. Santiago then spoke to the sun, persuading it to shine brighter. The sun suggested he speak with the hand that wrote all. Santiago prayed silently, feeling connected to the soul of God, realizing he too harbored the soul of God within. He understood the secret that no individual knows their purpose because it's all written by a supreme power. Some people understand this, and those who don't perish. Realizing this secret made Santiago see no difference between himself and the handwriting destinies. They had become one. As this revelation hit him, he managed to transform into the wind with divine assistance, astonishing everyone and winning the wager. Santiago and the alchemist were released, and the tribe provided guards to accompany them as far as they wanted. Along their journey, they reached a monastery where they bid farewell to the guards and proceeded. The alchemist showed Santiago a path that could turn into gold. They parted ways, with the alchemist returning to the oasis and Santiago continuing his quest for the treasure, guided by his heart. Finally, he reached the pyramids. Overwhelmed, he wept, and where his tears fell, he saw a beetle, considered a symbol of God in that region. Taking it as another omen, he began digging but found nothing. Then, some tribesmen returning from war arrived and took all the gold Santiago had, given by the alchemist as a parting gift. They beat him and told him to dig deeper. Santiago told them about his dream of treasure buried here, which they dismissed, believing dreams don't come true. Before leaving, the tribe's chief mentioned his dream of a treasure hidden in a church in Spain, where a sycamore tree grows in a ruined room. Laughing with joy, Santiago realized this was precisely where his journey began. The treasure was real, but required a long journey to the pyramids and then learning from someone else. Had he not followed his destiny, he might never have discovered the treasure hidden in his own country. Epilogue. Santiago went to the church and unearthed the treasure. He then visited the gypsy woman to fulfill his promise of giving her 1/10. Afterwards, he sensed a familiar scent, a reminder of Fatima. It was her fragrance lingering on his lips as a memory. "I am coming, Fatima," he called out, yearning for his love. We've now reached the end of Santiago's enchanting journey, a narrative rich with symbolism and life lessons that resonate with us all, courtesy of Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. It's a gentle reminder that sometimes, to find our greatest treasure, we need not look further than within ourselves and to understand the essence of who we truly are. If this summary of Santiago's quest has touched your heart or rekindled a flame within you, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Please feel free to share your reflections in the comments section below. Let's continue this journey of exploration and inspiration together. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more engaging summaries and discussions on the stories that move and shape us. Until our next adventure, keep following your dreams, and may you always be in tune with the language of the world. Goodbye for now, and thank you for spending this time with us.